Hi everyone, my name is Allegra Integra. Welcome to my channel where I talk about books. Today I'm actually going to do a TBR. This isn't something I have done before, mostly because I'm a mood reader. However, with the pandemic vlog that I did last month, I really enjoyed doing that, and I feel like it encouraged me to not only read more, which is something I've been wanting to do for years, but also look at the things that I'm reading in a more critical way, and I actually find that really entertaining. I am slowly shifting to being a person who annotates books, to being a person who makes notes on books, and while I was reviewing what I have read so far this year, I came to a realization that I am a liar. I started this channel saying I'm a big fantasy and sci-fi fan. It turns out, while I still believe that about myself, my reading habits don't reflect that, especially when we're talking about sci-fi. I watch mostly sci-fi. Star Trek is my favorite show. I actually have a Star Trek tattoo, which is like in the hardest spot to show off. I'm a big sci-fi fan. Some of my earliest memories are watching Star Trek, and I've even read Star Trek books in the past. But when I look at the books that I've read this year and last year, there are very few sci-fi books in there. And I have also purchased a bunch of sci-fi books that have been gathering dust on my shelf. So this is going to be my introduction to what I'm calling Sci Fi July. I plan on reading a number of science fiction books, some that I own and some that I have from the library, so I have a time limit on those, and I thought I would just go over those. I may end up doing a vlog for some of these too. I haven't decided yet. That is a lot of work, and I have limited storage space because I use my phone for everything, but it was really fun, and at least one of these books I think I could pair with another to do a more in-depth vlog and critical reading thing. For Sci-Fi July, I went through books that I already own. Most of them are newly purchased, but one of them actually I've had for a long time, as well as serendipitously, I got two science fiction books that I've been wanting to read for a while from my library, and it looks like there might be a few more coming through my ebooks, but I am trying to be realistic with just the books that I'm talking about here. As most of you probably know, TBRs usually go off the rails, but why not set goals? Because even if I don't meet them, I've gotten some of it done. I'm going to start with the library books that I'm hoping to read this month, mostly because these have a time limit on them. They are currently set up where I can renew them, but I'm hoping to get these out of the way. I'm excited to read them. The first is The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. She also wrote Magic for Liars, which I have not read. I talked about this in my book freakout tag video about new releases that I've wanted to read that I haven't gotten to. So what better way to start the month than with something I've been wanting to get to all year. The basic premise of this book is that a woman named Evelyn has been replaced by her clone. Essentially, her husband is having an affair with the clone, and then her husband shows up dead, and she either has to work with the clone or one of them is suspected. I'm not sure. It sounds like a fun romp, and it's not super long. So I think this will be a good start, especially after this really heavy June reading month that I've had. The next library book I have is An Unkindness of Ghosts, and this is by River Solomon. I read The Deep by River Solomon last year, and it was one of the books that helped kick off getting me out of my years-long reading slump. This follows, I believe, a neurodivergent character named Aster on a generational ship who she is referred to as like a freak or an ogre because she's in like the lower or lowest caste in this generational ship. And kind of exploring what that means. It's a ship that's taking the last of humanity to what is called the Promised Land, and there is a harsh moral restrictions and indignities on sharecroppers who are dark-skinned like Aster. Part of the reason I really like sci-fi is it explores issues like race and class in a different setting than literary fiction, which sometimes gives you more space to have those conversations, and River Solomon is definitely an author that does that pretty brilliantly. This one's a little thicker, and it's probably going to be a little heavier than some of the other things I've chosen, but that's the type of stuff I like to read. Switching gears from heavier sci-fi books to something that, while maybe not necessarily lighthearted, has some humor and has also been pitched to me kind of as hope punk, is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This is actually what I'll probably start in July, since it is supposed to be a little more on the lighthearted end of things, and this is following the crew of a ship Some of them are human, some of them are not, where they are going to do a job and risking their lives, so clearly not super light. I've also been told this is very gay, very sapphic, I believe, which is something that I don't have enough in my life right now. And again, not super short, but not super long, and it'll be something that's a nice break from all the heavy stuff I've been reading lately. Next up is Perseus Station, and this is by Stina Licht. This was actually a cover buy that I talked about in my book haul. A lot of these are going to be repeats because I'm trying to read down on my physical books, and a lot of the stuff I just purchased is science fiction. This is quite a bit longer and is more of an action-packed book. Again, there is buy rep, and I don't know, I cannot get over this cover. And hopefully the cover will reflect how lovely the language is. I've heard mixed reviews, but since it is an action-packed thing as opposed to a character-focused thing, I'm kind of looking at this like my Star Trek First Contact of books this summer, whereas some of the other ones are going to kind of fall along the lines maybe of maybe not quite as hard to parse as 2001: A Space Odyssey, but a little bit less popcorn, a little bit less fluffy. This is my popcorn book for the summer. Next up in physical books that I want to read for Sci Fi July is In the Quick, and this is by Kate Hope Day. This is going to be a little less far sci-fi. The other books that I have mentioned actually go further in the future, and this one, from what I can tell, is a little bit more near future, and there is a romance aspect to it that is supposed to be a big part of what is happening. It has also been described as feminist and thrilling, and it focuses on a precocious woman named June. She has wanted to be an astronaut her entire life, and her uncle worked on a project called The Inquiry, but that has mysteriously disappeared when she was around 12, and she is wanting to figure out what happened. Along with the romance that this promises, I think that this will be a little lighter. Again, a bit more of a popcorn sci-fi novel, which is something that I'm going to need to balance out the next books that I am hoping to get to in July. The next book that I'm hoping to get to in July is Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. I actually do also own Never Let Me Go by this author. I have not read any of his stuff before, so I'm hoping if I find the time and the ambition, I could do another vlog based on comparing and contrasting these two works and determining which one is better. I have heard that a lot of people prefer Never Let Me Go to Clara and the Sun, but I think that would be a fun project, and I do want to read both of them. I have owned Never Let Me Go, I think, for over 5 years, so it's about time I got to it. I don't have it here to hold up because I am recording this late at night and I am a mess and I didn't have time to go grab it. But regardless, this is a story about artificial friends, so a type of AI, and it follows a specific artificial friend named Clara, surprise, surprise, and what she goes through after she is purchased to be the companion to a young girl. It sounds like from the reviews that I've seen that aren't spoilery that this really does touch on what does it mean to be human? How are humans going to respond to AI and more as they learn to pass Turing tests. The only thing I know about Never Let Me Go is that it is dystopian sci-fi and it's really sad. I have tried to avoid spoilers for that. I don't think they have the same tone, and I don't know that they even cover the same themes, but I think this would be a fun project, and I want to get to at least one Ishiguro this year, so why not aim for 2? And last but not least, I do own the ebook Lagoon by Nnedi Okorafor, and I really loved Binti. For some reason, though, I'm not wanting to read the follow-ups to Binti right now. I think that Lagoon is going to be my nighttime book since I can read it without a light on, and I have an e-reader that doesn't have the blue light. Otherwise, I will stay up too late and end up making videos because I can't sleep, like today, or coming up with projects. But I also like to have an ebook just on the ready because it's a lot easier to transport them than my physical books. So that will be one of the earlier books I choose to read in Sci-Fi July, but because it's an ebook, I'm popping it up right here. Those are all the books that I am hoping to read for Sci-Fi July, and I plan on doing at least one vlog. Again, we'll see. I don't like to make promises because I'm terrible at following through with things. And also, I have a few other books, including a library book that are going to be due back in July, so I don't know if I'm going to get to all of these because I have other books that I'm hoping to read in July as well. It doesn't look to be a particularly busy month for me, but those are famous last words. If you are into sci-fi, please feel free to join me and let me know what you're planning on reading this summer. And that's all I have. I'll see you next time. Bye.